Good evening, Alpharetta, Georgia. So I like how both Pulverizer and Andrew had asked questions, but they didn't follow the instructions. Oh boy. I think I was very clear in my instructions. I said, if you have a question, make sure you put all caps. Okay. Actually, I think somebody interesting. What makes Pink Floyd so great? What kind of mental illness must one have in order not to like that band? I mean, dude, the lyrics are freaking fantastic. I'm not gonna lie to you. The lyrics are fantastic. Tom says, when Sid checked out and David arrived, can't answer the last question. So I was watching a YouTube video on the origins of Pink Floyd. It's pretty interesting. I was watching on the origins of Judas Priest. And I can't remember, was Rob Halford in the band then? I don't know. They had a black guy, was huge fro, though. It was Judas Priest did. Crazy. Ground Bison, is it worth it? Yeah, I did March Gladness. I wasn't a fan of Bison, man. You know, they had like the Ted's Montana Grill, and it didn't really for me. I'm elderly. I don't have to obey directions right on. PA, Ted's from Maine. Yeah, we're just seeing that UConn went on a 20-0 run or something like that. Crazy. By the way, so we went to the Atlanta Hawks game the other day. We saw the Hawks play the Celtics, and that guy CeeLo Green. I was like, "Hey, Gordon." I was like, 007 Clownfish. I said, the guy was like, doing the halftime show. It's just like a potato head looking guy. It's just short, fat. I don't get the appeal, but whatever. He started dropping F-bombs. I was like, I asked my son, I said, is he dropping F-bombs? He goes, I think so. Brian, que paso? I couldn't believe it. It's just like, F you, like literally, but saying the word, F you. Like, it's like, dude, the guy, what the hell is that about, man? It's crazy. I didn't understand. He's saying S and F and the whole. I was like, what? Crazy. What a freaking clown. Then they had some black guy that they showed on the overhead screen named Duke Dennis. And I'm on YouTube. Are you on another channel? I don't see the questions. Yeah, so I'm on the hair. So basically, Tony, good question, Tony. So here is two channels that I'm on. One is the Josh Scanlon YouTube channel, which you are on. The bigger one is the Heritage Wealth Planning. So right now, 41 people are on Heritage Wealth Planning, and 13 are on the Josh Scanlon one. And there's nothing wrong with being on both of them, if you know what I'm saying. So if you want to jump on the Heritage Wealth Planning one, you can see the questions. The Josh Scanlon one, you might not see the questions. Unless I do like this. I can do like this, you can see it. All right. So Tom, is Fulton County as effed up as it seems to be? Yeah, it's in fact, it's funny. I think I can star these now. There we go. Can't. Someone said, "Can I explain why I don't get it?" But anyway, Fannie Willis. So Jill was on me. I imagine she'll be joining at some point because I voted for Fannie Willis. You know what I'm saying? I voted for her because she was running to take out the other guy, Paul Howard, who was a horrible race baiter. So Fannie Willis was like the moderate person, and she was going after. I don't know if y'all remember this, but Atlanta Scanlon boys were in the house. Lock up your woman, 100%. Yeah, it was fun to watch, man. But she was voting. She was the moderate of the DAs, Pulverizer. Tom. Fannie Willis was like the every time you're in urban politics, you have one radical, appealing to the Al Sharptons of the world. Then you have more moderate who are appealing to the white business class. Every single urban area has this. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. And this is the business owners, and there's always an affluent area of every urban area, and so basically you have the moderate and you have the radical, and the moderate was Fannie Willis because Paul Howard was a radical. In fact, Paul Howard was like locking up cops who did nothing wrong. Remember, Atlanta had this huge school issue in Fulton County, a huge thing on schools where it's just as corrupt as the day is long. And even Thomas Sowell fell for it in his book, Black Rednecks and White Liberals. He talked about how one of the Atlanta school guys, cleaned up the school with classic learning and stuff, and it was all fake. Now, there's a lot of other examples where classical learning helped the Black community for sure, education, whatnot. But the Atlanta one was fake. It was just corrupt as the day is long. And Paul Howard wasn't doing anything. Fannie Willis says, I'm going to come in there and bust some heads, and I'm going to, I'm not going to just lock up cops unless they've done something wrong. But then, so you're like, sweet. And that for me as a white guy who lives in whites are 20% of the population, who's in northern part of the county with firearms. You know what I'm saying? Remember what happened to that DA in St. Louis with those the two lawyers? The weird looking, like the kind of heavyset lady with the holding a pistol, and then the guy with the pink polo holding an AR. You know what I'm saying? That they went after them like white on rice. And so I'm thinking there, look, if you're a radical activist and you're in the prosecution office and you want to get street cred for your own people, you just go after a wealthy white person, man. That's all you got to do, or go after a white cop. That's all you got to do. In this case, he's going after black cops, but still, you go out, then you'll get street cred, man, 100%. And Al Sharpton did that, and they all these guys do it. This is how they butter their bread. And so Fannie Willis was a good alternative to that, and I voted for her, and she won. And then what happens? Like what always happens, man. DC gets their hooks on you, and you do what they tell you to do. I mean, I don't know what happens. I don't know. It's the weirdest thing, man. But DC gets his hooks on you, and you turn. And look at all the Republicans who went to DC as freaking tough guy. We're going to take on the establishment. They all turn. All of them. It's crazy to me. And I guess Thomas Massey and maybe Rand Paul, the only two that I can think of that have. Josh Hawley, is that his name? Yeah, from Missouri. But most of these guys, they still are, like Tom Cotton, I like, but he's huge on Israel. He's a big Israel guy. Israel is his boys. You know what I'm saying? And it's just crazy. Like DC does something to you, and there's no way that Fannie Willis wasn't what's the word I'm looking for? Coached by Sniffy Joe. No way. Anyway, so yeah, I voted for it. All right, so I can do like that. Oh, sweet. I can do that. Nice. I know I could do that. All right, so remember, if you have a question, make it in caps so I can see it. So my man Gordon says, any thoughts on the commercial real estate crash that's projected to come? I got nothing. They've been asking that forever, man. They've been saying that forever. Yeah. It's not only what I'm saying. It's freaking, whoever George Soros gets his evil hands on, it's crazy. It's not only here for sure. We got Kevin from Florida, Brad from Northeastern Ohio. Still waiting for global warming to get here. Well, yeah, exactly. That's why you don't vote, because at the end of the day, I still think you got to vote for your local people. And I voted for my local person, and it turned out to be a mistake. But whatever. What are you going to do, man? She's still better than Paul Howard, if that makes sense. You've never heard me talk about cash value life insurance, Iron Man. You are new to this channel. Then I've talked about cash value life insurance a lot. There's Tony. All right, gotcha. And you can stay on the other channel too, man. Nothing wrong with that. So right now we got 65 people at Heritage Wealth Planning, 23 at Josh Scanlon, and we got 2 people on Twitter. Cool. We got none on. Am I not on LinkedIn? Oh man, I put it on LinkedIn. Oh man. Hold on a second. Can I add? Yeah. Oh, it's not showing up on LinkedIn. That's weird. Okay. Huh. That's weird. I don't know. Not that. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, so we got no one on Facebook, no one on link. I'm not even shown on LinkedIn. So, but no one ever. I get like 1 or 2 people on LinkedIn. But so there you go. So we got 72. So there's 100 people watching right now. 72 on Heritage Wealth Planning, 25 on Josh Scanlon, and 2 on Twitter. Now we got 106. Now it's jumped up to 106. So cool. All right. But I've talked about cash value life insurance a lot, dude. I'm a fan of cash value life insurance. You got to be very cautious on the difference between whole life and universal life. In fact, I just read someplace just today, some company was sued for I can't remember what company it was for their UL policy, universal life policy. They overrepresented what the future cash accumulation would be, is what the claim is. I'm not saying it's true, and I don't think they're going to succeed, because all cash value life insurances have projected as well as guaranteed rates as their assumptions thrown in there, and the guaranteed rates are like basically the worst case scenario. So I don't think that's going to succeed. But at the end of the day, there are some people who can't just. I mean, literally, it's a lot of numbers coming at you, and they say this is what we'd expect to get for your cash value life insurance, and then when it doesn't come to fruition, people say you told me to be that, but you didn't read this. And I'll give you an example. There's a guy on this channel. I'll never forget it. It actually pissed me off, because life insurance is a good thing. It is. Again, it's an inanimate object, so it's neither good nor bad. But the ability to use life insurance properly is a good thing. Remember, if you have questions, please put them in cap locks, because I can kind of go down here and see if there's any questions here real quick. Yeah, right here. Like Vice Grip has a good question there. We'll get to. And what I do is I star them. I star them so I can come back and see them. If I click the like button, says Denise, good job. All right, sweet. So I star them. So again, if you have a question, please put in all caps so I can star it and come back to you. Some people actually get viscerally mad when I don't answer the question right away, and I usually just ban those people. All right, cool, good. Anyway, so we go back to what my man said here. All right, so what happened was, guy, he's a new. I could tell he's a new guy, new insurance guy, because he's like, you'll get 6% interest on their cash value life insurance. And I think he represented either Northwestern Mutual or New York Life, one of those two. I don't think it was Mass Mutual. And I said, okay, 6%, eh? He goes, yeah, dude. And this is back when the interest rates were like 1. I said, well, that's pretty good. We should all do it, right? He goes, man, it's great. I said, so show me in 10 years, I dump $100,000 in your whole life, or I don't even think he knew what the difference between a whole life and a universal life. I said, let's just say it's whole life. I said, so I dump $100,000 into your whole life policy. What's my cash value going to be in 10 years? And, because if we're getting 6% interest, I should have $160,000. It's just that simple. I should get $6,000 a year for 10 years. I don't even need to compound it. I'm just saying just 6% each and every year. He goes, well, no, it's, you got, commissions and blah, 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 cost of insurance and all that. I said, okay, so let's do 20 years then. So let's get rid of the first 10 years. We haven't made any interest in the first 10 years. If it's in a commission-based product, and you probably won't. So what's it going to be in 20 years? Well, I then have, I'll have 160,000 in 20 years is what you're saying. Because again, I made nothing the first 10 years. I'll even give you that, which is pretty crazy if you're saying there's a 6% guaranteed interest payment. He goes, I said, run an illustration, because you have this thing called a projection. You can run illustrations, hypotheticals, if you will. And what's it going to be? He goes, I said, yeah, dude, you think I just rolled out a sack yesterday? The 6% is a crediting rate. That's what they credit you. But after that crediting rate comes out, the cost of insurance, the commissions to people, the various fees that go along with it, and you're not getting a 6% net. It's this basic insurance 101. You're probably getting a 3.25 by year 20. You see what I'm saying? So, you're probably going to get, $135,000 of cash value life insurance and a whole life policy, maybe $140,000 if you're, but you're not getting $200,000. It's just not happening because of the commissions that are got to be paid out, the cost of insurance. Oh, by the way, the cost of insurance increases as you get older. Anyway, so I got two $50,000 policy, whole life policies on all 4 of my children. So I got 8 whole life policies. I'm not, and Dave Ramsey doesn't know what he's talking about when it comes to whole life insurance. He doesn't. People say, well, life insurance isn't an investment. All right, well, are bonds investment? Yeah. Well, why are bonds investment? It's a fixed rate of return. It's just that simple. What does life insurance give you? It gives you a cash value that grows, i.e., it grows with some kind of interest, and it gives you a tax-free death benefit. There is an investment potential, investment, if I put X amount in, I have X plus 1, that's an investment. I got a return on my investment, which means I'm investing my money. The most idiotic thing, life insurance is an investment. It is an investment. Am I getting out more than am I put in? Well, yes, it's investment debt. I mean, literally, I don't understand why people get so wrapped around this. It's the weirdest thing. I put $100,000 in, I got $110,000 back. That means I made $10,000 on my investment. You can call it whatever you want. At that stage, it doesn't matter. It's just semantics at that stage. But I made money, or I didn't make money. If you lost money, is that not investment? Just because you lost money, that makes it not investment? Of course not. All kinds of investments lose money. Life insurance, the way you lose money, though, is you pull the thing out with surrender charges and all that stuff. And as such, that's not going to be good. More likely that on that annuities, but still, life insurance, like it's a unilateral contract. Only you have the ability not to honor it. The insurance company must honor it. Once they issue the policy, they have to honor the contract as long as you keep up with which is making sure the contract stays valid. Anyway, so I'm a big fan, but there's problems with it for sure. I do think it gets oversold in terms of look at like the guy's just telling you about, and the guy's just a young guy. I said, dude, you can't be using that because you're gonna drive away people. You're gonna hurt your career by telling people that they're gonna get 6% interest rate. You're gonna hurt your career because they're gonna wake up 5 years from now and they're not getting anything near the sort, and they're gonna be pissed, and rightly so, because you've been holding yourself out that they're gonna get 6% interest rate, and they just won't. All right, let's keep going here. Like I said, I got who's in the yeah, no, I know Maine lost at Cornell. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the Frozen Four. Yeah, UConn got smoked, or Illinois will get smoked by UConn. Yeah, it was St. Louis. It was in St. Louis. St. Louis Andrews in Missouri. The last I thought. Any good reason to convert to a Roth? Any any good reason to convert $1 million to a Roth? You're 56. Yeah, you should buy my book on all the various reasons to do that for sure. I mean, I've the last 4 years, I converted everything to my Roth now. So I'm fully ensconced in Roth. I have no more pre-tax money. The reasons are through the roof. I'm not going to get to all the reasons here because it'd take forever. But yeah, a million of good reasons to convert to a Roth. I'd say buy my book, The Tax Bomb in Your Retirement Account. Look at Pittsburgh. No, please don't. Yeah, man, it's crazy. So crazy. I don't want to yell, but if you have a question, that's the only way I can see you. Brad in the house. Another Brad says he's from Northwest Ohio. Gotcha. All right. Moonbase Alpha here. I do like to kiss the dogs. Life insurance is not, well, that's not true. It could be subject to taxes. I mean, you got to be careful stating these because let's put it this way. If your life insurance expires before you do and you were taking loans against it, that could be subject to income tax. We've had that happen many times where people got hit with this tax hit. They're like, what? I thought it was tax-free. I'm telling you, man, this March Gladness, I'm still trying to be good and not call people names. If you go on like LinkedIn, and I follow this guy named Andy Planko, who just tears up these life insurance salespeople. It's funny. I like Andy Planko or Panko. I think it's Panko. Whatever his name is. I think he's even got a small YouTube channel, but I like him because I'm that small. I can't remember. Anyway, long story short, some of these guys, they're idiot. Their sales techniques are so idiotic. It's embarrassing. I'm just like, ditch your 401k, ditch your Roth IRA. Here's everything that's right with index universal life insurance. You're like, oh my goodness, it's so bad. And all it does is just, again, it makes you look like a complete fool. That's all there's to it. When you see these, they'll have these, now these little smiley faces. Let me show you. It's actually funny. So there's one guy that says, I don't know, tax-free, smiley face, tax-free, no market risk, smiley face, and leave a legacy. I'm just with something like this. Leave legacy, smiley face, and this is a sales pitch. So there's 3 smiley faces, and then for 401k, he said it's not tax-free. There is market risk, and you might not leave a legacy. So we have 3 X's on the smiley faces. I said, man, that sold me. That third X on the smiley face. I was hesitant before, but man, have those smiley faces with the X on it. That showed me I want to get an index universal life insurance. Brad's been over the Francis Scott Key Bridge watching the cranes pulling. Really? You're in Maryland, Brad? Over by the FS. Here's going to take like 10 years to rebuild. I guarantee they don't name that bridge after a white guy. It's not going to be named Francis Scott Key. I guarantee it'll be named after like Freddie Gray, the Freddie Gray Bridge or something like that. Yeah. So just remember, a life insurance casualty can be subject to taxes. Just keep that in mind. The death benefit is not. Well, you got to be careful there too. Remember the whole unholy trinity of life insurance. All right, so because there could be gift taxes here, and this is what a lot of people don't know: the unholy trinity of life insurance. All right, so we got life insurance. We got this. We got the insured, the owner, and the beneficiary. All right, so these are the three principles in a life insurance contract. If all three of these principles are different, your life insurance will have a gift tax upon when it's paid out, a gift tax. So you want to have two of the three be the same people. All right. So for me, I'm the insured, Josh. I am the owner, Charlotte. The owner, Josh, and Charlotte's the beneficiary. The insured, the owner, and the beneficiary. In this case, would be me as the insured, me as the owner, and Charlotte's the beneficiary. Charlotte can be the owner and the beneficiary, and be the insured. That's fine. But me being the insured, well, I'm her husband, so we have an insured interest in there. So I can't just go get a life insurance policy on old Brad here because there's no insured interest, which means if Brad died and I get paid tax-free money, there's an incentive. Let's just put it this way: there's a negative incentive if you're an uninsured party to be the owner of a life insurance contract. They have these life insurance things. Man, I'm drawing a blank what they're called. That you can theoretically get paid on buying someone else's life insurance policy. I guess I can't. Did the Supreme Court ever rule on that? I can't remember. It seems counter to the ability of life insurance. There's supposed to be an insured interest because that keeps you from doing bad things. You see what I'm saying? Like, let's just say 2 blocks over, I insured a home that I don't know who it is. I mean, what's to stop me from going to light a match and setting it on fire? You see what I'm saying? There's got to be an insured interest in this case. And if my wife has an assured interest in my staying alive. Remember that Office one with Andy when they're doing the CPR thing? That was free. That was so funny. All right, so we got 2 little dolls with 2 little dolls deals. Wow, say that 3 times fast. 2 little dolls deals. 2 little dolls deals. 2 little dolls deals. All right, almost did. Thanks for your videos. I think I will never retire in June. You think you will? I will. Okay. Thanks to your videos, I think I will never retire in June. Well, if you're a teacher there, 2 little dolls deals, you got a lot of work to do on your grammar here, sister. Anyway, I'm just goofing on you because teachers are heroes. Did you ever see the Norm Macdonald one where teachers are heroes? Oh my goodness. It is. When you get off this YouTube channel, look up Norm Macdonald, Teachers Are Heroes. It's so flipping funny. Dude, R.I.P. Norm Macdonald. That guy was and then some teacher was like heckling him. It's friendly, but that guy just like that. He came up with the way. That's so funny, man. Look up Norm Macdonald, Teachers Are Heroes. Anyway, so I think what this pretty lady is saying, thanks to your videos, I think I will be retiring in June after 27 years of being a public school teacher. Right on. Well, good. More power to you, lady. You got to get your grammar in order. Hope you weren't teaching your kids like that there, 2 little dolls deals. All right, we got Garth from Australia. Yeah, what happens in America usually affects Australia, 100%. In fact, I was just reading, I did a video on today that apparently, what did my man Andy Biggs say about Australia? Is there like a flat Social Security benefit? I think it's what he's saying. So, and Australia sucks. Let's put it this way. I mean, you guys went Nazis and during COVID, and you had that freaking, that's New Zealand, the horse face idiot, whatever that chick's name was. And then you had your stupid Scott Morrison. He sucked. And then you replace him with that idiot who's there now. So basically, Australia is Nazis, and there's no opposition party. The Tories in England are gone. They're just dead. The Tories in England is and the same thing's going to happen to Republicans, man. I'm telling you. If Trump gets reelected and doesn't do anything this time around, the Republican Party's dead. That's all there is to it. Because I don't want anything to do with it. But the Democrats are worse. Yeah, that's what they've been saying for. They say that all the time. I'm sick of it. I'm just sick of it. It's just like the Tories, the Conservative Party in the UK, is a perfect example of what not to do. And the sad thing is that the Republicans are always just 5 to 7 years behind the Democrats. Who'd have ever thought the Republicans would be big on LGBT? Who'd ever thought the Republicans would be big on all this stuff? And yet, everything that green energy. I mean, there's some fight in there, but not much. Everything the Democrats do, just wait 5 to 10 years, and the Republicans will be doing the same thing. It's crazy. You don't want to die, but if I do, I love the tax rate paid on my term policies. Yeah, but most likely you'll survive your term. The vast majority of term policies pay out, don't pay out. I mean, we're talking like 98%. Here's Larry Slago. What do you think of AT&T selling their pension plans off to a company in the Cayman Islands? That sounds horrible. I was just talking to a guy just yesterday, or 2 days ago, that their pension plan is getting sold to an annuity company, actually. And so I don't know about their pension plan. A company that tells me they're selling it to an insurance company, which means it will no longer be PBGC insured, and that sucks. So in this case, this guy's pension plan is being sold to an annuity company, and while the insurance company has some local state guarantee, basic protection, it's not PBGC. And so I'd be if I was an AT&T soon to be pensioner or even a current pensioner, I'd be worried. Are we going to still be PBGC employed or guaranteed? That's a risk to me, Larry, right there. I mean, what the AT&T? They're going to sell their pension plans off to a company in the Cayman Islands because why is the company in the Cayman Islands? They don't want to pay taxes. It's just so freaking. The Democrats and the Republicans, it's both parties, man. This whole thing with these guys going down there, well, they're just as crazy. Why do all big companies I share accounts with pick BlackRock and Vanguard? Well, Vanguard's fine. BlackRock sucks. But, at the end of the day, I mean, and to BlackRock's credit, the fees are quite low. And so, I mean, you don't get destroyed on fees. It's just basically what you're doing is you're trading out your low fees for BlackRock to be able to vote your shares. That's the issue here. And BlackRock's evil. And so you're saying, hey, BlackRock, thanks you for the low fees. Here's my vote my shares, please. Because your shares in of itself, Kirk, don't mean anything because you don't have enough holdings in here. But BlackRock, which has your shares, my shares, this cup shares, everything shares, all that in the aggregate is a huge voting that they have access to for the proxy votes. Yeah, I still love Wellesley. I was going to do a video on Wellesley today, and I got caught up. What the hell was I doing today? I did a lot of yard work. Well, not a lot, but I kind of I put some I got some garlic in there, some onion in there, some potatoes in there, some potato sprouts. I had planted some kale the other day, and I planted some string beans, but we're not past our first frost. And my wife just told me I think tonight's going to get to 36, or tomorrow's going to be 36. So I was prepping my beds to plant some stuff. And I put some not corn. I put some carrots in there. And it's like too early, man. Which is normally you can plant it. Easter is typically 2 weeks before Easter is typically when you can start planting stuff in the deep south. And not actually. Let me see. You want to plant after your last day of frost, and usually we're already beyond that, but not now. So I wanted to see real quick. Yeah, so it's gonna be look, low 30s Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. But look at that, dude. Look at those 70 degrees. That's nice. 77. Am I looking tan? Make my teeth look white. My brother met me at the Hawks game. He goes, "Damn, you look tan." I said, "Yeah, baby." I still like Wellesley. Anyway, I was going to do a video on Wellesley. I'm just a big fan of what I'm saying. I'm saying if we had Tom was in Maryland. I mean, they can get it done. I think remember that bridge in Philadelphia that crashed? They fixed that within days. With Pete Buttigieg in there. I mean, even old Pete there, probably the dumbest person in DC. And I say that very hesitantly because we have people like Kamala in there, and I'm not even talking about Joe Biden. And we've got really stupid people. You know what I'm saying? We got a lot of dumb people, and Pete Buttigieg is probably the dumber than Kamala. And that guy is that dumb. We got two Garths on here. I clicked the like button on both streams, so I literally gave you 2 thumbs up. And hey, thanks, man. Hodges, that's what you do. ARs are fun. I enjoy it. My question: if I'm exercised at 55, can I? Did AR's fan get taken over by? Huh, my question: if I'm exercised, 50, can I? Did someone, you the zombies come get that guy? You can. All right, so let's talk about this a little bit too. Not trying to bust your guts there, Liberty. Oh, Garth, there's another Garth. All right, you got to remember if you have a term policy, not all of them are convertible. You got to keep that in mind. So I'm not trying to bust your balls here, Garth. It's good to know your name's Garth. But if you have term life policies, many are, but there are some that are not convertible to permanent life insurance. Just keep that in mind. It's a big deal. I've had many a term policy in my career that a conversion would have been good, and it wasn't in the cards because it did not have the conversion opportunity. Did not have a convertible option there. So keep that in mind. So if you're going to buy a term policy, I highly recommend you ask if it's convertible to a permanent policy later on. Kirk's got whole life insurance. 2 kids have, dude, look at that. Now, so these $250,000 whole life policies are going to be expensive. All right, so that's not going to be cheap. But it's going to be cheaper than if Kirk had it on his own. That's for sure, because Kirk is older. So the nice thing about whole life policies for your children is they're so healthy and not likely to die because they survived infant mortality. That's very, very cheap. So my policies are all. Is it 50,000 or 25? It's 25,000 each. That's what it is. 25,000 each. So I got 2 $25,000 whole life policies on each of my children. One through Knights of Columbus and one through USAA. And what happens is it's 20-year paid up. So basically that's what it is. So after 20 years, I'm fully paid up. I don't have to put any more premiums in there. It's not a huge amount of cash value. I'm only paying like $25 a month. You know what I'm saying? Paying $25 a month for, roughly 20 years. Well, not roughly 20 years, for 20 years. That's 240 payments, whatever that is. Someone else can figure that out. But anyway, so I'm not paying a lot of money, but there's cash value, and then there's not accelerated death benefit. Then there's a paid up addition. So, what was initially a $25,000 life insurance policies, the Knights of Columbus ones, because it's a dividend paying policy, and USA is not. I think the USA got rid of their dividends. But anyway, they're paying dividends, which is buying up more life insurance for my children. So, basically, by the time the 20 years are up, my kids will be in the mid 20s. Maybe Maddie will be 30. And I'll just give them the policies, and there's no more premium to pay. It's a little cash value, a couple $1,000 in there. They can even they can double their life insurance without being underwritten too if they want. They got to pay higher premium, but they can do that as well. So I'm a huge fan. So $250,000 for each kid, that priced me out. I couldn't afford that when I started these policies. That's for sure. Why the T-shirt inside out? Oh, I think it's right this time, isn't it? Yeah, it's right. Or you right side in. Why the T-shirt? But when you say right side in or something, well, yeah, Michael J. Johnson says, "Howdy, friends." Howdy, Michael J. Johnson. Oh, Michael Johnson. All right. Happy Easter. Yeah, Bruce Smith's in Thailand. Is this the Bruce Smith from New York? Yeah, they misrepresent the policy all the time, man. Yeah, your Badgers got beat by Wisconsin lost to James Madison. How much longer do I think Yellen can keep up quantitative easing by pushing T-bills? Well, okay, so how by pushing T-bills? Denise, you consider that quantitative easing? Most people consider that quantitative tightening because of high rates on the T-bills and too money supply going down. So I don't think people consider that quantitative easing. They're actually looking at quantitative tightening. I mean, quantitative easing is when you have the Fed buy the bonds, and what that does is push up the price of the bonds and push down the interest rates. Well, that's not what's happening here, which with the T-bills. Now, I don't know what the 30-year is doing. I haven't looked at the 30-year for a while, so let's double check the 30-year. I know the 10 years. Yeah, I mean the 10-year is still at 4.2. Yeah, so that's definitely not a. So here, look on this side right here. This right here is definitely not a quantitative easing. That's a tightening. They're either selling off their portfolio or not buying bonds or a combination thereof. And you can see that by the M2 money supply is also dropping. So yeah, that's not quantitative easing by any stretch of imagination. That's the 10-year treasury. I haven't looked at the 30-year. I imagine the 30 is probably about 4.7 or so. Yeah, so there's a same thing on the 30-year. So we've had this inverted yield curve. Remember, I was saying it 4 years ago when we had the inverted yield curve, that the inverted yield curve is not, it doesn't mean anything in terms of recession is imminent. Everyone's there freaking used to piss me off. I was like, you really made me mad. Recession's coming. We have an inverted yield curve. I said, okay, well, that's no different than if I eat carrots, I will die. Because if I eat carrots, I will die. Everybody gets that, right? Well, if we have an inverted yield curve, yes, there will be recession because there's always recession in any kind of market demand economy, a business cycle economy. Has it have to do anything with the inverted yield curve? Well, no. I mean, have we actually had a recession? Yes, we had 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP. That used to be a recession until Biden came along. Now, whatever, Biden, all things changed. But BS may, we haven't had anything like any of major significance for the vast majority of Americans. It just hasn't happened. Anyway, so I'm sitting there thinking, okay, so we still have an inverted yield curve significantly. I just showed you the 10 years at 4.2, the 3-month T-bills at 5.2, 100 basis points above. I mean, it's 90 basis points above the freaking 30-year loan right now. So, but that's not quantitative easing because those rates used to be in the 1s and 2s just 2 years ago. So, 2 to 3 years ago. So, yeah, we're definitely not quantitative easing right now. And again, the way you know that is because quantitative easing, what they do is they really buy up bonds to increase. Remember, anytime there's an increase in demand does what to price? All right, so let me draw this out. We got 157 people here. All right, so if you are on Josh Scanlon YouTube channel, I got 45 people there. Or 41 now. We got 108 on the Heritage Wealth Planning, and we got 4 on Twitter. So if you can't see the, I think you all can see if I do like this. Yeah. But if you don't see like the running questions on, or the, not the running, or the comments that are kind of going through live comments, it's because they're all on my Heritage Wealth Planning, not all, but the bulk are on my Heritage Wealth Planning YouTube channel. All right. So we got, so when you increase demand, you have increased demand that increases. Let me use this one. That increases. If you have an increased demand and a level or a drop in supply, so you have an increased demand in the same supply or a drop in supply, that increases prices. All right, so prices go up. I mean, just think about your neighborhood. If 5 people came into your neighborhood to buy 5 houses, all right, that's going to be an equilibrium there. Let's say now 4 houses are now available. There's only 4 houses per supply, and 10 people came into your neighborhood to buy a house. So now you have 10 people coming to your neighborhood. There's only 4 houses for them to choose amongst. Before it's 5 and 5. That's to be a nice equilibrium. Now it's 10 buyers. Right, that's the demand, and the supply is the same where it's gone down. The price is going to go up without question. And so what happens with bonds is when prices go up, yields go down. And so that would be the quantitative easing, is that the federal government is buying a bunch of bonds to knock up the prices because the demand is higher, and that's knocking the yields down as well. And that's not happening anymore. I mean, in terms of the overall scheme of things, it's quantitative tightening. Obviously raising the Federal Funds Reserve rate and all that too. Let's see. Busting the Life Insurance Lies by Kim H. Butler and Jack Burns. Yeah, great stuff. Someone said Illinois is responding to that. Well, Illinois is playing Connecticut. I think that's what they're talking about, Andrew. Yeah, I think Amar and I did a thing on donor advised funds a couple of weeks ago, Ted. Apparently you weren't there. Okay. Guess you had other things to do. Just whatever, man. Okay. Wow. Jeez. Let me guess. Ted was back at being at Woodstock. Remember, we all busted on Ted that time. I forgot what it was, but we all said Ted was at Woodstock. Ted was on the Apollo 11. Anyway, I like donor advised funds 100%. Ideally, if I was king for a day, I get rid of all tax deductions and tax exemptions, 100%. But I don't think that's ever going to happen because the people in charge love their tax deductions and tax exemptions, even though they're for the wealth. I'm not for the wealthy. Okay, but yeah, but I'm a fan, and I think Vanguard, Fidelity have a couple good funds. Yeah, for sure. I'm a big fan. All right, what's your preferred method of increasing withdrawal amount for those that retire early, so they spend down their investments as best they can before the end of life? Let me think this through. What's my preferred method of increasing withdrawal amount or rate for those that retire so they spend down their investments as best they can before the end of life? I'm not sure what you mean. Like, what's my preferred method of increasing the withdrawal rate? Just withdraw what you need to live. And if you want to take a trip to the moon and beyond, and withdraw more, I think, Jeff. I don't have a preferred method. I just say, hey, I need $50,000. I got $1 million in my portfolio. I'm going to pull $50,000 out. Next year, I'm going to take my trip to the moon. It's going to cost $60,000. I'll put $60,000. There's no specific on that. Just kind of withdraw what you need for sure. Let's see this guy. Please do an example of a whole life or universal life or whatever heavily commissioned scam you like and compare it to an index fund. So to prove that life insurance is not an investment, we're going to compare it to an index fund. I mean, come on, Johnny, please. This is so infantile. Just be silly here. All right, so everybody, can anybody see what's wrong with this? So basically, he's saying life insurance is not an investment. How come it's not an investment? Because he's saying, please do an example of a whole life or universal life policy scam you like and compare it to an index fund. Oh my goodness. Just you guys can see how this is what's the word? Not straw man, but it's just it's a silly. I'll see if you guys can figure that out. There's a couple of things in there that's just stupid, but that's okay. People, for some reason, people hate whole life and universal life. They hate permanent life insurance. They're all the buy term and invest the rest guys. They hate it. It's weird, man. They have this like infatuation to show people how wrong they are with life insurance. If you're going to come at the king, you better take the king out. And this right here is just like a knock off, like a gnat, Johnny Blaze. Come on. This guy, my man Michael's in the Philippines too. Right on. That's just, dude. Does anyone see what's wrong with this right here? Then we're going to go to this next one. Oh, Johnny Blaze, you've had too much to drink. Put down your beer, dude. Oh my goodness. Oh. P. Diddy Reaper Bridge, Obama Bay Bridge. There you go. Oh my goodness. I would never say anybody's a real deception. I know who you're talking about. I'd never say anyone's a deception. But does Doug? He does promote whole life insurance? I think, doesn't he? I think he does. I think Doug Andrew promotes whole life or universal life or something. I can't remember. I'm not going to say anything more about him. Can you watch too many financial shows? Of course you can, Vaughn. The Marvin Gaye Bridge. Is Marvin Gaye from Baltimore? Should be the Babe Ruth Bridge. 10 years. It only took me 4 years to build the Golden Gate Bridge. Yeah, then what about the freaking Hoover Dam? The Pete Buttigieg Bridge. No, because he's a white guy. I know he's gay, but he's a white guy. You can't have that, dude. Can't be the Cal Ripken Bridge. Yeah, 100% difference between a mutual. Garth, are you in this business, the life insurance business? Yeah, because mutual companies are where it's at for sure. Hey, it's Bill Scott. Look at old Bill. Bill and his better half. Virginia Beach. Tallahassee. All right. Ooh, NUAs. Oh, boy. Why would you want to exercise NUA and why would you not want to? All right. Oh, my goodness. Who's Alpha Lima? Oh, boy. Anyway. All right. So, anyway, net unrealized appreciation. I think that's what it's called. Net unrealized appreciation. All right. So, NUA, what it does is it allows you to, I'm going to have to draw this out. Amar and I did a video probably a year ago on NUAs. And I haven't looked at this for a long time. So if I'm screwing this up, just, sue me. I'm just being silly. But just, take it with a grain of salt. It's been a long time since I looked at NUA. Net unrealized appreciation. So you have $25,000 as your cost basis. and your account's worth $100,000 of your company stock, and we'll just use AT&T because someone mentioned AT&T. Right, so you got, and this is inside your retirement plan. So you got $25,000 that your cost basis of AT&T stock. It can't be a mutual fund. At least it used to not be a mutual fund. I can almost guarantee it's not. And it's worth $100,000 now. All right. So the question is, if you roll this whole thing over into your IRA, it's all coming out as ordinary income, all of it. Right. If you roll that over, it's all coming out as ordinary income. And again, your $25,000 cost basis, when you contributed to your 401k, you still got the tax deduction. It's not a real cost basis, but that was your, that's basically the cost of you to buy the AT&T stock inside your 401k. So it's all coming out as ordinary income upon tax. What happens with NUA is you can take this money out and roll it to a brokerage account, your cost basis, and roll it to a brokerage. Right, and then if you hold it, is it taxes? I think it's taxes, ordinary income there. Is it? I can't remember. Is it taxes or it's tax? I'm almost positive it's taxes, ordinary income when it gets rolled to a brokerage account. But anyway, anything above that is long-term capital gain as long as you hold it for a year. I got 2 years on my head. For some reason, I got 2 years, but I think it's just a year. I think as long as you hold it for a year, it's other than the initial distribution, which is taxes, ordinary income, the gain, the difference here is taxes, long-term capital gain, if that makes sense. And so there's some significant opportunity to do that for sure. But if you don't, a couple things, if you don't have a whole lot of difference between your cost basis and your account value, you're still paying ordinary income tax on the front end of doing the NUA. And so I think there's like 2 people I recommended NUA. I'm working with a guy right now, my man up in Cleveland, and he's working with Fidelity on the NUA. And he's doing it. Fidelity drew him up the whole thing. And they did actually quite a good job, frankly. I was pleasantly surprised because he asked me, should you do NUA? I said, man, that's a tough one because he didn't have, memory serves, it wasn't that long ago. He didn't have that much of a gain. He had some gain, but not a huge amount of gain. But there's a special circumstance that we needed him to do it for. I can't remember what it was. And Fidelity drew him up the whole thing. And I said, that was pretty good. It looks like they did a pretty good job for it. I'm comfortable recommending you go with that, assuming that, I don't give tax advice or anything like that, assuming that you are comfortable because you're going to have to pay some tax on it for sure. And then the rest will be his long-term capital gain. As long as you hold it for a year. But he did it. That was good. But I've had other people, I said, I just don't see the value there. It's just not enough value to pay the tax on, $50,000 cost basis when you only have, $15,000 of gain. So you have $50,000 cost basis, account says worth $65,000. Yeah, you're going to pay the ordinary income tax. I'm almost positive this tax is ordinary income on your cost basis right now. And if you just roll to your IRA, you could defer that for later on. So anyway, a lot to think about on NUA. And Fast Eddie likes my curly yellows and he likes my dyed hair. Yeah, I think you can, Vaughn. I think there's a lot of people have a lot of different. So Vaughn says, can you watch too many? And Vaughn needs to take some English lessons from the teacher we had on here. Oh yeah, Pulverizer. He sent that Norm Macdonald bit on the teacher. Oh, that was so funny, dude. Baltimore native Thurgood Marshall Bridge. Well, I don't want to rename it the Francis Scott Key Bridge. That's what I'm saying. Just name it the guy. What's wrong with white guys? What do white guys ever do? Don't you know? White men are the epitome of I hear this from like white women. I said, you have sons? I'm just curious because when you criticize a whole race of people, group of people, if you have sons, you're also criticizing them too. Well, not my sons. My son will respect women and they're so good. I said, okay. But their neighbor down the street doesn't know that about your son, or the neighbor 2 towns over doesn't know that about your son. So that lady who also thinks white men are the epitome of evil, she'll look at your son and think he's the epitome of evil too because he's white. You realize that, right? So you think all white men are the epitome of evil except for your son. But then you're going to look at that neighbor from 2 towns over who's just as liberal as you, and you're going to say his son is the epitome of evil. Does it make any sense? Stupid. White men, yeah, they can be the cooties. They're so evil. Don't you know, Josh? crazy. It's actually funny seeing whatever you say. I'm not embarrassed at all to be white. People are like, it doesn't bother me. I'm not proud of it. I literally don't. I mean, it is what it is, man. Why would you be proud of the efforts of other people? I'm proud of the efforts of Americans of all races and creeds and everything. But I'm not proud of like, oh, I'm white. I'm proud. Oh my goodness, white. So like, dude, give me a break. I didn't do anything. I didn't build America. You know what I'm saying? Come on, it's still silly. But I am proud of the people who did, 100%. But I think you can watch too many financial shows. I hate to say it, but I think a lot of people don't know what the hell they're talking about. They just don't read, man. And I just let me just go through some of the stuff I got in my little thing here. So I'm going to show you some of the things I'm looking at, and this is just what drives them. They just don't read. They don't. A lot of people are in this business to make money. They're not students of the business. So I'm looking at this right here. All right, spending trajectories by after age 65, variation by individual wealth, and this is Michael Hurd and Susan Rottweiler. We're married, by the way, and Andrew Biggs and I talked about these people the other day, and when I last interviewed them. But this is October 2023, so they've been writing about this for decades now. And I said, hey, they updated for 2023. I want to see what that is. All right, so then we're going to look at this one right here. All right, so check this out. Because a lot of people just don't do it. They don't take the time because they're not that interested in the business. Does home production replace consumption spending? Evidence from shocks in housing wealth in the Great Recession. Again, Michael Hurd, Susan Rottweiler, and Jim Beam, who likes to drink his alcohol. Jim Beam. All right, so then we're going to see what this one is right here. All right, this is from the RAND. It's this all the stuff I got my little tabs up there. I don't know if y'all can see those tabs. Right here. This is interesting to me. Individual survival curves comparing subjective and observed mortality risks. This is Dateline a while ago, if memory serves. Well, not 6 years or so ago. All right, so good. We got that. So we got there's lots of just stuff out there that people just need to read. Ooh, I like this one right here. Check this out. Oh, yeah. I've been reading this. The Federal Reserve Bulletin, 1929, February, before the Great Crash happened. It's fun to see what the Fed was talking about back then. That's fun. We got that. We got that. Hold on a second. Get rid of my man here. Krakow. Ooh, I can't wait to read this one right here, though. So this is my man over at Ed Macquarie. And I've read this article once, and I want to read it again to do a video on it. And I like Ed, but the bogus Roth math. And Ed likes to take advisors to task. It's actually kind of interesting. So I like Ed. I'm looking forward to reading that and sharing that again, because we'll see what old Ed has to say. I think he misses a couple of points there. Off the top of my head, I can't remember what it is, but we'll see what old Ed has to say. Anyways, I just got in here. I need to really get into this one right here. So this is my man, William Sharp, right here. A retirement income analysis scenario matrices. And this is 730 pages of a book you can download for free. This work is licensed under Creative Commons. And I'm very interested because William Sharp is well known in my biz. And I haven't read, I've had this up there for a while. I haven't read it yet, and I will. Because I think, sadly, that he might have some mistakes in there, but we shall see. But how dare you say William Sharp has mistakes? People make mistakes all the time. They make mistakes all the time because the data that some of these old guys, William Sharp's old guy, I don't even know if he's still around. Some of these old guys had are different than the data we have now. And we just have better data crunching now than we did back in the 80s, never mind the 50s, with the modern portfolio theory, efficient market hypothesis, and all that. We just have better data now than we did back then. All right. Horseface. No, Horseface is that chick from Jalinda, whatever her name was, from New Zealand. Any thoughts on Coast Fire? I don't know what that is. Coast Fire. 100% Israel. This is the thing that drives me crazy. These pro-Israeli people, they act like Israel is all down a bag of chips. I'm not anti-Israel. I just think it's none of my business. Israel was one of the worst, if not the absolute worst, when it came to COVID stuff. Horrible. Well, maybe not as bad as Australia, but pretty horrible. And that's not for me. You know what I'm saying? So Israel loves them some 57 flavors. They love the vax, and they love to, and I think they even denied the rights of private citizens to have firearms too. And as such, why are we why are we so ingrained in this love of that country? It's weird to me, man. I mean, look, I used to be like that. You can ask Pulverizer here. I almost banned Pulverizer because he said, a couple negative things that I thought on Israel. I said, how dare you, Pulverizer? I think I did ban another guy. And I wish I remember that guy's name, but I unbanned him. But because I came across him on a Viva Frey locals chat. And he said, hey, Josh, it's Joe Schmo, whatever his name was. He goes, hey, what's up, Joe? He goes, yeah, ban me from your YouTube channel. I said, I did. I go, why? He goes, because I was saying some things that you didn't like about Israel. I said, oh. And I said, it's embarrassing because I've changed, man. I've seen COVID. I said, oh, who I thought was friends are not friends. Who I thought were enemies are not enemies. That's just all there is to it. That doesn't mean that who I thought was enemies is now I want to invite to marry my daughter. Doesn't mean who I thought were friends, I don't want to have dinner with. I just said, we're just going to back up a little bit. Like Homer going back in the bushes. We're just going to back up a little bit because we've been playing for suckers, man. And trust me, I was the biggest pro-Ukrainian guy you could possibly imagine. Because I read so much stuff on the Holodomor and the Russian. I mean, I've got books on top of books on top of books because everyone wants to talk about the Nazis. That's fine. Frankly, bores me. I'm like, whatever. No one wants to talk about the commies. You know what I'm saying? And anyway, so I just read all the things with kulaks and all this stuff, and obviously the Gulag Archipelago and stuff, but all that stuff. I just got tons of books on that stuff, and Ukrainians took the brunt, maybe even worse than Poland did when it came to the commies. And so inherently I'd be pro-Ukraine, except for the fact that Ukraine has sold their souls to bad people, man. Bad people like Victoria Nuland, Lindsey Graham, Joe Biden, you know what I'm saying? All these scumbags, John McCain, Joe Biden, John McCain, Lindsey Graham, scumbag central right there. They used to have Ted Kennedy and Chris Dodd, all right? And they used to be the Senate, one from Massachusetts, one from Connecticut. And they used to call like waitresses that have what they call a sandwich, like a waitress sandwich or something like that, where literally these old effing men would like get around a girl and like rub up on her and stuff against her acceptance or whatever that means. And I said, and everyone knew that, and no one said anything. Joe Biden used to have just everyone knew, no one said anything. And I said, man. Anyway, so all those guys were just just like the Clintons did in Haiti. How do you think Mark Warner and Bill Clinton got rich? Well, they freaking ransacked Haiti. And the Lindsey Graham, Joe Biden, John McCain, and I'm sure others did the same in freaking Ukraine. It's evil. These guys, and look at what's happening in Haiti now. Look what's happening in Ukraine right now. Yeah, you can blame freaking Russia all you want. It's happening in Ukraine before Russia. Just is crazy. They all suck. The Hop was born in Baltimore. Does seem like BRICS nations economies are thriving. Really? BRICS nations economies are thriving? So BRICS nations economies, let's talk about who they are. Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. You really think they're thriving? I don't know about that. I think it's easy to say that. We know China's a thriving. South Africa is a basket case. Yeah, India, they're importing all their best people here. Russia is definitely not thriving. I mean, I'm sympathetic to what's going on there for sure, but I wouldn't say it's thriving by any stretch of the imagination. And Brazil, I mean, come on, that seems like you're looking as a way to doubt the U.S. dominance and say the BRICS are going to replace us. And I don't buy it for 2 seconds flat. What is? I mean, look, anything could happen. That seems like people are they want so bad. And I'm not saying this is you, born again, Brian, because you were the person who got me reading my Bible again. So she goes, you read a lot. Why don't you open up your Bible? I said, that's a good point. So I've been reading it 2 to 3 chapters a day, every single day. Anyway, because of born again bride. You know what I'm saying? Look how pretty, born again bride. I know our side always has the hottest chicks. Someone had posted that. I think it's Kirk Schlichter on Twitter. Said our side always has the hottest chicks. Their side, he just showed some picture of a typical raging lefty. Our side, he showed like maybe it's his wife or something like that. I can't remember. But it's like, yeah, we always got the hottest chicks. You ever notice that? Our side being on the right wing populist side. The left wing just, man. But anyway, so what I think people are don't take this wrong, born again bride. I just think at the end of the day, people want so badly to have Joe Biden not in presidency that they're willing to they're eager to see something that doesn't exist as a way to kind of spite Sniffy Joe. And I get it, but I'm sorry, man. BRICS doesn't no. Yeah, and I have nothing. I have nothing. Because this is exactly what's happening. Seems like BRICS are thriving ideas on how to invest in BRICS as part of my international portfolio. CB, you already had some from Philippines. We already had Michael Johnson in there. Yeah, when I was asking, I'm glad you brought that up. When do you actually harvest the scapes, and when do you harvest the garlic? Yeah, come on. He's risen out there in ham on deck tomorrow after mass and high intensity, high voltage workout powerhouse gym in Bristol, Connecticut. I'll be going in. Jeremy, you going to Philippines in October? That's right. Jeremy's dating a Philippine lady, Filipino. Here's Thomas G. Thomas G doesn't pay attention. Why? Because he doesn't put his questions in caps. He's got $550 in cash to buy a home. Cash is now earning 5.25. We're retired. $660 in the IRA. He's got 37. He's got about what's that? 52,000. 3750 is about 52,000 or so, and 45,000. Yeah, 45,000 in Social Security income. Do we continue to rent, apartment, buy house, or hold on until real estate prices drop? Man, I'm. You want to say hi to the camera? Now, come on, come stand next to me so people see that I'm not as short as what that picture showed. Come on, stand next to me. Come here. Everyone's like, man, you look so short, Josh, compared to your son. All right, here's Liam. Everyone's like, you're so short. All right. You don't have your shoes on. All right. See, look how short he is. It's all perspective. Sadly, I've lost 3 straight games to Liam in Backyard Basketball League. I can't fake him, dude. I always think I'm faking him. He always blocks my shot. I literally don't know what I'm doing wrong. I think I'm juking him. Next thing I know, my shot's getting blocked. It's really getting my nerves. If I can't hit my outside shots, I go for the layups. But that he can once he stops my right hand move and I can't move to my left very well. I'm just like, if I can't hit my outside shots, I'm dead. Anyway, I would not wait until so waiting till real estate prices drop. When's that going to happen? That's the issue, man. I was thinking about this today. It's like, what if? Remember they said the World Economic Forum, by 2030 you'll own nothing and be happy. What if they meant not like us, our older people, but younger people? That literally they're being priced out of the market to buy a home. You see what I'm saying? And because they show some clown guy with this, freaking some clown hipster guy, like, yeah, I'm so happy. So what if they meant that? Like literally, you're going to be priced. Let's listen to E. Michael Jones, and you might not like E. Michael Jones, but I like him a lot. Talk about he's doing this. What's he talking about? How the Catholic Church. Well, let's just put it this way: he's a big Catholic, but let's just put it this way: how non-Catholics are dictating some of the in the missiles that we have. This is what we the Boltons essentially, that we got to be careful not to be read the Apostle John too literally, because it could be perceived as anti-Semitic, and that is in the Catholic missile someplace, maybe I don't know if the diocese or whatever, and it was written. I don't want to say too much more, but let's just put it this way: it didn't seem to be a Catholic who would write that. You see what I'm saying? And I was listening to him, and I said that because the apostle, if you read John, you know what I'm saying? If you read John, if you know what I'm saying, and then you read about the, Jesus being died, that apparently would make one anti-Semitic, according to this Catholic Bolton that's in some diocese. And it's like, it's freaking, and it's insane. It's insane. Anyway, so he took a caller on his call-in show for a guy from Portugal. And he can't afford. And there's a guy on this channel who moved to Portugal. He's retired from New York State and moved to Portugal, and basically to do some farming. And so this guy from Portugal said, I can't, I don't want to take debt because, usury is bad. Now, E. Michael Jones's definition of usury is different than mine, but either way, we want to avoid debt. He's like, I can't afford to buy land. It's just too expensive. And the reason is that because all these foreigners, Americans essentially, are coming in there and buying up what is cheap to us, but to native Portugal people, it's not. And then they're, of course, importing all these third world people too, because I can't afford to buy land. And I said, oh man, there's a lot of people in America can't afford to buy houses. So you will own nothing and still be happy. It's the Brave New World mentality. Just take your Sama. We'll give you some chick to hook up with, every 30 days, and you're good to go. It's Brave New World, dude. Anyway, I said, man. So for him, he can't afford to buy land because rich Americans are moving in there. And then I'm saying for Americans, we can't afford to buy houses because they're just starting out. They got student loan debt, and the price of housing is high. Anyway, so the issue that Thomas is thinking, I got $550 to buy a house. I'm making freaking, $30,000 a year just sitting on tight. Yeah, but it's not like the price of houses are going to go down anytime soon. I mean, it could, but you still need a place to live. That's the difference between waiting for a stock to fall, which I don't think you should, or waiting for houses. You still need a place to live. So if it's costing you $2,000 a month to rent, and you're getting $2,500 a month on your interest, of that $2,500 a month on interest is taxable, well, you're basically breaking even. You might as well just buy a house and start getting some equity built up in there, in my opinion. Because what if the prices don't go down? What if they continue to go up because they're not building them? Boston and the Caps are tied 2-2. Boston not looking good. I completely agree. I would have thought, look at Robert Fibbins. I completely agree with Robert. Oh boy. I would have thought prices would be going down. I was wrong. What I'm saying, it's just, and I could be wrong here too. Thomas might wait, but I mean, when has real estate prices ever dropped other than like 2007, 8, and 9? Well, really 2006 and 7. When have real estate prices ever dropped? Not much. Denise, T-bills are not bonds. Well, they're definitely not doing quantitative easing with their long bonds. That's for sure. And that's I haven't heard anyone saying we're quantitative easing, Denise. I've heard it all being quantitative tightening. Our last child is graduating from. Denise says our Fed is tightening, the Treasury is easing, countering the Fed. That's why I think flat iron is so sticky. Flat iron is so sticky. I'm not sure what flat iron is. The Treasury is easing, the Fed is tightening. Well, how's the Treasury easing? I mean, I don't get what they're doing to ease because we don't see it. I hadn't heard any of that. I mean, that could be true. I don't know. I hadn't heard that though. Our last child is graduating from college, and we have 300,000 left in a 529 plan. What should we do? Give it to me, of course. You got a good problem there, man. Worst case scenario is you sell it, just like you let it grow. Let it grow. You might have you give it to another beneficiary. Worst case scenario is you got to pay tax and a penalty on your gain. That's it. Worst case scenario. I think you can even give those plans. Can you change the owner of it without being a subject to gift tax? I can't remember. That's a good question. It's a good problem to have, man. I just always say, hey, at the end of the day, I got 10% penalty on my gain and income tax on my gain. So let's just say your gain is $200,000. You get 100,000 as your basis, $200,000. You split that $200,000 over 10 years. That's $20,000 a year. You got a 10% penalty. It's $2,000. Let's just say 20%. We'll say 25% tax. That's going to be $2,500. Yeah, it'd be $7,000. You're netting $13,000 a year. That's not great, but that's the worst case scenario. That's not bad. Will working more years remove 0 from my 35 years? It could, absolutely, as long as you get paid. Yeah. So if you got 31 years of, if you got 35 years of work, and 4 of those that were zero, you work 4 more years, or remove the last 4 zeros. 100%. This is not a flip phone. This is a. This is had this phone since 2017. 2017. Haven't changed it one time. No new tattoos. No new phones. What else do other people buy? They buy new cars. We've had new cars since then. But what the hipsters buy? All tattoos and new phones and new cars, and they don't buy them; they rent them, they lease them. Yeah, I completely agree with Penelope there. I completely agree. Robert's a real estate guy. He's like, buy, buy, buy. 157, but how many flavors? My inflation indicators are food prices, online purchases, insurance, and gas all show inflation super high. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, food prices, insurance, property tax, got to put that in there. All show inflation super high. But gas, see, that's the thing. I assume you're using gas to fill up your car. I would actually put electricity prices and stuff. I think the real inflation should be literally how much it costs to feed yourself, how much it costs to heat your home. You know what I'm saying? How much it costs to pay the property tax, how much it costs to put electricity in your home. I mean, these are the things that should be the real inflation for sure. But at the end of the day, I mean, literally, that they look at inflation different for CPI for sure. That's just a fact. But you can't use. I mean, I guess you can do everyone. If you're going to use gas at the local, Kroger or whatnot, I mean that ebbs and flows. So if we're going to use gas as ever inflation metrics, we say, okay, when it's down to $2.99, are we in deflation? I think gas should be part of the whole utilities, frankly. I'm considering taking 200,000 out, Theo, to fund a Roth SPIA. Yeah, man. Yeah, increases my probability of success. Yeah, 88% is good. 94% is fine too. Remember, 85% is the sweet spot. So there's Theo, my man Theo. Doing in Roth to minimize taxes, right? Yeah, I get no qualm with that at all, man. $12,000 a year on a $200,000 SPIA. That's a 6% payout. 20-year joint, 100% life, 100% survivor benefit. 20-year joint. Yep, I like it. I do that. I'm watching the Bible history series on the History Channel right now. Oh, sweet. Well, if you like renting, I mean, see, that's what it comes down to. If you like to rent, keep renting, man. Literally, I mean, because the beach, 100%. Just, I don't know. If you like to rent, keep renting. Yeah, 100%. Dave, Susie Orman hates whole life too. Insurance is a contract. Yes, it is. It's a unilateral contract. The insurance company has to abide by its rules, but but you don't have to. You don't hear what dude. Can you literally? You don't hear yourself. You don't hear yourself in these statements, Johnny Blaze. Do you hear yourself? Think about, why am I laughing at you here? Think about what you're saying. My goodness. Retired at large. Right on, brother. George Floyd Bridge. That's what I call it. I'll stay with term insurance. I got one when I had kids. It ran through 60. Bought a larger 20-year term that runs out 71. When we found our son had disabilities, beyond that, yeah, 100%, man. I was a term insurance fan, dirt cheap. Don't carry on any now. I'm single and daughters are grown and on their own. 100%. I got term insurance. 100%. You buy term because term will, if you die, your wife will get a significant amount of life insurance. Whole life, probably not going to be significant if you're funding it properly. That's the whole thing with whole life. Whole life works when it's funded properly. The problem with UL with the flexible premiums is that it's easy to get suckered into thinking that the interest rates are going to make up your lack of premium payments, and that doesn't happen very often. It just does. So anyway, that's why I like whole life better than universal life, because universal life is flexible. You don't have to make the recommended premiums. You can, even not make a premium today and make 2 next week or something like that, that gets nervous. How dare you? See you. Happy Easter, Denise. Trump scandal in 2024. Yeah, ain't gonna happen. That ain't gonna happen. Old Josh, too many. I'm so white I get a moon burn. Oh my goodness, that's funny. Yeah, I mean, I initially I entertained RFK Jr. I just after his um, he's still lefty. I just don't know what else to say. He's still lefty. I mean, if I had to vote solely on the vaccines, I'd vote for RFK for sure. But what's your favorite and least thing about being a financial advisor? Thanks. Your favorite thing is when you're helping people, especially if you can talk in a way they can understand. Because I think a lot of financial advisors, I shouldn't say that. I don't know that. It seems in my thought process is that a lot of financial advisors just spew out stuff out of their mouth to try to show how smart they are, and people they don't care. You know what I'm saying? If they're in your office, they're in your office for a reason. You just don't have to be. And like I probably fall into this myself on occasion. You don't have to be the smartest guy in the room. You just got to know your business. You got to know your field, man. And when you know your field, and you're able to express that in a way that people understand the caveman mentality. Then people they value you. It's freaking wonderful, man. And you get paid good money. I mean, you can also not make any money. I've been there both times, not made crap and paid money. But when you see that the look on a wife's face after you tell her that they're going to be fine, you know what I'm saying? And you can see the relief on the husband's face too, because he's been carrying the burden of like, man, I know what I'm doing, but what if I'm wrong? And I don't know if my wife agrees. I'm just not sure. And you can see that her think, okay, yeah. So John was doing good after all. You know what I'm saying? Not that she doubted him, but this says, yeah, I always knew that he was doing great, but but this helps because I could tell he was a little bit anxious and see his feeling of like, yeah, okay, I was doing good. I was doing it right. You know what I'm saying? It makes you feel good. Because I think for me, well, I don't think for me, but I think the number one reason that people get divorced is financial issues. You see what I'm saying? And if you can remove that financial issue as a problem, you're probably going to save marriages. And saving marriages is critical, especially with families with children. And that's just wonderful. And then seeing a divorcee or a widow woman, just they'll say, "You're okay." There's nothing better than that, man. And because a lot of these ladies they're too timid to ask. Or I just saw this lady just emailed me like last month. I think I've said this a couple times, and she's literally in a panic. And I said, "Just all right, calm down. Let's go into it." And I wanted to interview her, and she put a little bit of data on the right capital, and I said, "If this data is correct, you're freaking fine, dude." And but I don't know if it's correct because she never reached out back to me. It's kind of bummed me out. She said she just was too embarrassed, and I said, "I just think you're." It's like the people who listen to Fox News or MSNBC or whatever. I don't even care. Fox News isn't right wing. I mean, but it's just like you're hearing one side of the story, and if all you hear is repeated, not just the one side, but just all that crap, it's going to make you go insane. And in financial news media and the academics and whatnot, a lot of these guys are just spewing off nonsense stuff. And they do it in a way that says, you need me. You like the Dow Bar study. The average investor underperforms his investments by 700 basis points. It's just stupid. It's stupid. The least thing I hate, I gotta be careful here. I hate when people basically want to blame someone other than themselves, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? And because it's your money, No one manages your money like you do. No one cares about more than you. So take some damn responsibility for your own freaking money. You know what I'm saying? And I hate when I hear like, oh, I hate it. I like it drives me up the wall. I would rather not have like I've had clients before that I've given them their money back, and I'm I gotta watch what I say because you can always kind of tell a guy's gonna be pissy if that makes sense, and I can't stand dealing with pissy people. I'm just too old for it, man. And you're like, well, hey, you know, how come? I'm just like, dude, then just leave. I don't get it. Just don't. Then go someplace else. I had one guy up here in LJ, up in a big canoe, and I went to see Harry. I'm sure he's dead now, but I went to his house like 3 times in a year, and he wanted me to go up there every quarter. And I mean, it's just, and I said, why? And I just, he always, he's like, well, I want to justify. He only had like $1 million with USA, so we weren't making a huge amount of money. I mean, it's money, but it wasn't like he wasn't. He had $1 million with us, you know what I'm saying? And he's like, because I want to make sure my fee is worth it. And finally, I just said, Harry, you should just go to the index funds, man. Our fee isn't worth it. All we're doing is we're managing our investments, and you're underperforming, as you're always going to underperform because you're paying us a fee. And I mean, unless you're basically renting me to come visit with you and your wife, you know what I'm saying? We sit around his table. He would tell us how USA did this or USA did that, and made him mad. And I said, just go to an index fund. And he never would. He never would. It's weird, man. I just every time I saw the phone, he'd call me like every Monday morning. Every time I saw the caller ID, I just like said, "Oh, I just don't want to deal with this guy." You know what I'm saying? And now I don't have to do that so much. I'm pretty good on the front end of picking people I want to work with. You know what I'm saying? But it's an experience that you got to learn from just being around a long time. I'm pretty good. I've had a couple of people sneak through. One guy from last year, I'll never forget that guy. I said, dude, you want to read? I said, nope. I'll never forget that guy. I said, you kidding me, man? I could not believe it. Could not believe this guy. But I've had a few that sneak through. But generally speaking, I'm pretty good identifying the people I don't want to work with, and that helps. But even then, you still get some people that kind of you're like, not very many, not very many. I'll grant you. There's a few people that you're just like, yeah, you know, no, this isn't the way I envision this. And I'm usually pretty upfront, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't want anyone to have any hard feelings, nothing. I don't want your money, man. If you have any doubts, I'm not negotiating. I don't give refunds. I don't want anything, you know what I'm saying? But I did give refunds one guy. I've had give refund 3 times to these people. One was a nice lady from New York. She had all her money in Tesla. And I said, man, I can't, unless you sell, like all her money was in Tesla, literally all her money. And that was 3 years ago or something like that. I don't even know what Tesla's done since, because Harry Chu's not here anymore. But Harry Chu would tell us about Tesla. But I said, I can't work with you if all your money's in Tesla, because I can't do my duty to you by doing Roth conversions and stuff like that when everything's in Tesla. Because if Tesla went to nothing, then you're screwed, and yet you paid all those taxes. She was very keen on the Roth conversions. I said, I can't, and I gave her money back. And then another guy who I've been out of the market for 15 years, and I want you to tell me what to do. I said, no, I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole, man. No, because think about it from my perspective. All right, from my perspective, there's only one winning scenario. You got 3 scenarios. One, the market goes down, and if I told him to do anything, he's been out of the market. Who's he going to blame? This guy. No winning there. The other one, the market stays flat. Well, he said, I could have done better just being in cash. I went in the market, took on the risk, but I could have been better in being in cash. That's a loser too. The only way I win is if the market goes up. That's it. So there's 3, you pull the door open. 2 of them are negative on me, 1 positive on me. And I don't need the positivity there. That's for sure. Because I don't know what the hell the market's going to do. I said, no. And I refunded his money. He goes, why are you refunding? I remember I said, he got like sanctimonious about it. and actually, he was an asshole to his wife too. I remember that his wife was on the phone with him. He's like being very rude to her. That's what it was too. That really pissed me off. I was like, I just don't want to work with it, dude. I don't want to work with it. That's what I told him. He goes, what? I said, I'm giving your money back. He goes, what did I do? And I said, dude, I'm not telling you what to do in the market. I don't think I said anything about the way he's treating his wife, but that gave me the more of an impetus. I'm not taking anyone who wants to freaking, be me to be their guru stock picker. I don't know. Hell, if I tell you to, I just told this guy I was working with, he's going to move about 100,000 more than the S&P 500. He's been in cash pretty heavily for the last year or so, last 2 years, 3 years. I think it's after COVID, he's been pretty heavy in cash right before COVID hit, something like that. And he's been moving slowly but surely. I said, and he's good. He's young, about my age. And we just got talking. He goes, you think I should move another 100,000 S&P 500? I said, I would, man. I mean, obviously, you know what's going to happen the minute you do, though, right? Because he'll go down 50%. I said, exactly. The minute you do, it's going to go down. But you should. So anyway, good question, Eduardo. But there are some, but anytime you're working in any kind of environment where you're dealing with people are going to piss you off. You know what I'm saying? And I remember when I first started this business at Vanguard on the phone, I was young and dumb and full of something else, and it's full of piss and vinegar. And I remember, I remember this one lady, she called, she goes, what municipal bond fund should I invest in? I said, man, I don't know. I mean, you got we at Vanguard, tons of municipal bond funds. She goes, I want you to tell me which one to put it in. I said, we can't do that, lady. And she was mad. Then I got mad, and she was mad, and I got a ding on my report from my boss. She goes, you can't get me stern with clients like that. I said, well, she was yelling at me and she wanted to talk to you. And I said, she goes, you just guys, I'll talk to her, but you can't get stern with clients. And I was like, and I had another guy too. We got into it, and he wanted to talk to my boss too. I was like, but this guy's. Lastly, I'll never forget. I had when I was at Schwab. So I went from Vanguard to Charles Schwab. And I was on the trading desk, which sounds fancy, but it's not. It's just literally sitting in front of a computer screen. And this guy called in like a 350 or something like that. Wanted to play some I don't want to say complex option trades, but some option trades. This was like in 2001, if memory serves. I couldn't hear him very well. These are the days when cell phones first came out. And it turned out the reason I couldn't hear him well is because first, the cell phone service wasn't great. But secondly, he was at the grocery store ringing up groceries, because the market's going to close like in 9 minutes, 8 minutes, 7 minutes. And he wanted to place these trades. And I said, and anyway, long story short, we didn't get him executed in time because I couldn't hear well. B, he was being interrupted, and then the market closed. And then next day he said, this trade didn't get placed, and I would have made $5,000 or something like that. We had all the call on the freaking record, and I had my boss, and so I said, there's nothing. The trade, by the time he finally agreed about what we're doing, it's already 4:05. There's nothing I could do. You know what I'm saying? He said, got to ding you. And I think we got quarterly bonuses or something like that. That one trade error, I think is what it's called, lost my quarterly bonus. I said, how's it an error? When he didn't, that pissed me off. I mean, that's the thing. Whenever you're dealing with people's money, people want to blame somebody else. We should have listened, says Mighty Storm. We should have listened. What are your thoughts on annuities when you retire? I love annuities, Ken. Big fan. Big fan. Big fan. I mean, now remember, there's different types of annuities. You got fixed annuities, you got income annuities, single premium income annuities, you got fixed annuities, and then you got variable annuities. But I'm a fan of all, frankly. It was Harry right there. Speaking of annuities, don't pull the plug. Don't be pulling the plug here. 100%. Me too, man. Josh, because we think Israel can be a big stick carrying ally of the world, truly goes to crap in the Middle East. Yes. Well, right. I could not agree more, except that certain people say that if you do criticize that government, that makes you criticizing crusty class people. How convenient that is, right? That, hey, if you criticize that means you're criticizing everybody. And didn't Jeremy Boring say, if you say Christ the King now, that's even anti-something? I'm not even going to say here. Jeremy Boring from the Daily Wire. Now, he said it a little bit more cultured than I'm saying it, but it's like, basically calling. It's just the whole thing's so stupid. Oh, we're going back to this, huh? We're going back to, I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse him who curses you. So we're going back to this. Oh boy, do we really need to go back to class on what Israel was compared to what Israel is now? Do we really need to go back to this? Oh my goodness, Aqua Bliss. Come on. Think about it. Think about it. Dude, I felt this myself. For many, many years, I felt this. Taking the Israel, this plot of land, and saying the man Israel, the 12 tribes of Israel, the person, all right? And to say this plot of land that was deemed by the Balfour Declaration, that's just weird how it happened in 1947, got placed there and just put other Palestinians out of their home. Suddenly, that is the same thing as saying to God, I am cursing Israel. Yeah. Hey, we're not cursing Israel, first and foremost. We're saying, I don't want anything to do with it. Let the Israelis, it's an ethnic battle for land. Let them fight it out themselves. We shouldn't be doing anything with it. I find the Christian masses who fall for this hook, line, and sinker. It's frightening to me. And I did too. I did. I'm telling you, man. I'm not sure they are as much anymore, which is kind of interesting. I'm not sure they are. I think a lot of Christians say, wait a second. I think they see what's going on in Ukraine, what went with the jabbies, what Israel's doing, how Israel was horrible when it came to freedom. I think a lot of righteous Christians are saying, what are we doing here again? What? That's our ally? What I'm saying, exactly. I can still support the idea that, and people say, "Oh, you want Israel?" This same thing with the vax. Oh, so you want people to die then? So, I don't want to support Israel, so you want Israel to die then? I don't say that. It's just funny too, because if you actually look at the Bible and you see what the nation states were and where they went, you know what I'm saying? And we see it's above Damascus, over to the Euphrates Sea, the Red Sea down here, the Euphrates Sea up there. I mean, all these tribes, Benjamin, Manasseh, all these things, all these tribes in there. Israel has a claim on all that land, apparently, if they want to. The country of Israel, I'm saying, because that's their ethnic place. Which is even more interesting is, of course, Judah was the southern, so Israel is the northern tribes. Judah was where Jerusalem is, and which is where the term Jew comes from. Anyway, so it's very interesting. You got the northern tribes, that's Israel, and then you got Judah, and basically, if memory serves, Benjamin, just down here, and then the other 10 tribes up north. And that's where the tribes of Israel were, up there. So somehow, if Israel wanted to, they could say, under the guise of the Balfour Declaration, oh, these are our lands too. You're like, wait, what happened? How did that happen? That's kind of what they're doing with the West Bank and the buildings and stuff like that. And back in my very anti-Muslim days, I was like, yeah. And I'm not pro-Muslim, but I'm not pro-Israel either. I'm pro-Christian. And my opinion is we need to get back to looking internal at what Christianity has done and how it's being abused, debased by. I just think enough of this. We got a lot of stuff here. Forget what's going on out there. We got a lot of work. I don't know if you guys watched Mark Dice's video today on the Christians just being abused left, right, and center. This is what we need to focus on. So Israel, hey man, that's you do you, but we got our own problems here. The good old U.S. of A. Christianity is being abused left, right, and we know that Jesus says it's going to happen. Doesn't mean we can't fight back, though. When I say fight back, YouTube, I'm not saying violence. I'm saying with love, but also with not tolerating a lot of things that we've been tolerating for way too long. We've been way too pleasant, way too pleasant. And Christians need to get back to say, no, we're not going to tolerate this stuff. We're not going to, because it's literally we're slitting our own throats. And then you look at some of the funding mechanisms of SPLC, the NAACP, and you still open up your eyes a little bit. I'll leave it at that. Look at retired reefer, 12 years and crushing it because he's smoking on that dope, man. Filipinos have small feet. Oh man, I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Yeah, I mean, the U.S. dollar is inevitable. The empire will collapse at some point for sure. Where should I park my Bitcoin gains? I'm thinking to gold until real estate cools down. If Liam infiltrated the stream again, I know he just got to get his claim to fame. Is real estate gonna cool down? Got a mass, dude. 100%. I forgot about that, man. 100%. I got a mass. I was practicing that a couple weeks ago. I just forgot. That's right. I'm glad you brought that up. I gotta get that hook shot back. All right, let's see. Yeah, remember Liam was. I know that was funny, man. All right, any other? Hey, Kevin. You can rent an apartment, a senior complex for reasonable. Might be better than buying a house when you're retired, especially if he likes it there. And if he likes, where he's at, keep renting. That's the whole thing. If you like it, yeah, good problem to have. Exactly, Iron Man. Luckily, I got to pay nearly $1,000 just on federal taxes. It's not beer, it's buble. I call it buble, orange cream. Never had to pay anything near that much. Yeah, I tell you. And then Harry said the same thing. And that's the drawback here is that with the higher interest is higher taxes paid. And if you're on Obamacare, that might creep up on you. What do I think about dividend stocks to help with retirement? I like dividend stocks, 100%. I like value stock too. I mean, I'm a value stock kind of guy. The reason I like value stock is because inherently, I'll show you right here. All right, so what happens with value stock there? Low PE, low price to book, and high dividend yields. That's value stocks. That's what determines a value stock. Low PE, low price to book, high dividend yields. All right, that sounds good. But there's a reason they're like that is because they haven't done so value stocks have more volatility. The reason they have low PE ratios, low price to books, and high dividend yields is because the stock got hit, the price got hit. That's what makes it value. All right. And so what happens is whenever you're on your back, when you do jump up, it'll jump up nicely, but you might not jump up. And look at GE. It took forever for GE to come back. And I guess they're this last 18 months or so, they're freaking boring. But still, at the end of the day, it's a lot of volatility in value stocks because there's a reason it's down. And just because it's down doesn't mean it will jump back up. It could go down more. In fact, the momentum theory, which I completely subscribe to, things that go up more, things that go down more. And at some point it switches, when somebody snaps their finger, missed a market, rings a bell, everyone changes. But things that go up tend to go up, things that go down tend to go down. And with value stocks, the reason they're considered value is because they're down. And they potentially have more to go. So there's more volatility in value stocks. But generally speaking, you buy things that are cheaper on sale, and value stocks are on sale. And at some point, they usually, not all the time, and there's no guarantee of this, outperform because there's more risk inherently. There's more risk in a value stock than a growth stock. Even though everyone says, no, it's not true. It is true. Because a value stock, the reason it's low on these things is because it's been knocked down. And it can keep going knocked down. That's the scary thing. It can keep going there too. Yeah, they can't roll over $300,000 though, Dan. That's for sure. They can roll over. I can't remember. It was a little bit, but it wasn't $3,000. Yeah, right on, Kevin. You got it. All right. How much tax would it be to roll into a Roth? Yellen's heavy T-bill. All right, so this is going back to what Denise says. Yellen's heavy T-bill issuance is causing drawdown reverse repo facilities since money market funds get slack. This increases liquidity, offsetting quantitative tightening. So issuing T-bills. All right, let's think about this for a second. What happens when you're issuing T-bills? Think about this for a second. When you're issuing bonds, all right, what are you doing? You're selling bonds. Issuing is selling. Let's think this through, man. I wish Denise was still here. Issuing was selling, is selling. Right? Let me go to the very bottom here. This is important. Issuing is selling. I'm issuing bonds. Issuing bonds. Issuing bonds. There's got to be another side of that transaction. What's the other side of that transaction? Anyone? Hey, Prairie Mark in Iowa. I love 3-month treasuries. At 100%. It's not about being at 100%, Andrew. I'm not exactly. Punch me in the face, you don't have to turn the other cheek. So this is what my man, I forgot, big celery. Right. So you're issuing, I'm going to, until someone answers this, I'm going to keep going. The Fed is selling bonds. That's issuing. Or the Treasury. I don't care. They're issuing bonds. What is that doing? They're selling bonds, which means someone has to do what? The other side of the transaction. Someone has to buy the bond, right? So someone is buying the bond. What are they buying the bond with? Cash. They're buying the bond with cash. So what's cash now is coming out of the economy. That's what's happening. And that's literally, so when the Fed buys bond, but they're not flooding the market with cash because the Fed is now taking that cash. And if the Treasury is issuing T-bills, right? Treasury bills, right? If the Treasury is issuing the T-bills, they're getting the cash. All right, so they're taking cash out of the economy. Now you could say they're spending it. Well, that never stopped them from doing it anyway. Okay, but they're not. But that's what happens. So exactly, they're taking the cash out. They're taking the cash out of the economy. That's tightening. This is what the tightening is. All right. So when we're selling bonds, right, you're paying us with cash. When we're buying bonds, we're flooding we're putting the cash into the economy. That's exactly how this works. So when we're buying bonds, we're giving cash, just the fiat currency, we're putting into the bank's reserves. Now there's no reserve requirements if memory serves. The whole thing's stupid. I mean, the fiat currency is, I mean, it is what it is. People can scream bloody murder all they want. No, the printing press goes whir, and everyone's like, oh my goodness, it's going to be bankrupt. It's been going worse since freaking out at the end of World War I. So anyway, when they're buying bonds, they're creating cash and they're putting it into the banks for their liquidity needs so they can lend it out and there's no reserve requirements. And theoretically, the banks can lend more. But here's what happened in Japan. What happened in Japan? Same thing happened. No one wanted to borrow money. That's called a balance sheet recession. No one wanted to borrow money. The Fed had the banks had all this money to lend. We'll lend a freaking, you fog a mirror, we're going to lend. We're going to lend. And they're like, I don't give a two craps, dude. After I saw what happened in 1990s where freaking all these heavy levered entities went bankrupt, I'm never going to be like that again. And I think we learned that lesson here in the United States too in 2008. People say, I know for me, I'm like, hell no, I'm getting out of this as much as I can. I don't ever go down that road again. Is 10 million safe to walk? I don't even know what that means. Anyway, so you're sitting there thinking, okay. And so now if the Treasury is issuing 3-month T-bills, well, someone's paying for those 3-month T-bills. And what's the Treasury doing with that cash? Now, again, you can say they're spending it. That's fine. But is that quantitative tightening? I mean, easing? No, quantitative easing when they're flooding the market with cash. Anyway, so I absolutely, someone could have said this is quantitative easing to offset the quantitative tightening the Federal Reserve is doing. I had yet to hear that. And I'm not saying it's wrong. I frankly don't really care all that much. But just basic economics here, and that Fed works. And the Treasury market, same thing. They're taking money out. The other side is money market funds demand that absorbs T-bill supply. T-bill rates haven't materially moved, so demand and supply are in an equilibrium. Cash is not coming out of the economy, but the RRF instead. I don't know that. Okay. Someone's been watching YouTube videos that say, oh my goodness, the repo market and all this just bores the hell out of me, man. but basic economics 101 when it comes to money supply. The Federal Reserve is issuing debt, all right, i.e., they're pushing bonds onto the banks. They're taking cash out of the economy. That's what's happening. All right. So if we want to talk quantitative easing, you're not going to have quantitative. 100%, man. It's literally just that simple. And the bank reserves are already high. This is another thing. There's no reserve requirements. The banks already have a crap load of money. The issue is the debtors aren't there. Thank the good Lord, man. I love it. I love it. I love the fact that people are saying, no, nope, not borrowing. Exact same happened in Japan. You can see the velocity of money. I've showed videos on this a million times. The velocity of money is going through the floor. That's good, man. That's good. But you guys are calling it QE. That's the issue. You guys are calling it quantitative easing, but instead you're saying the Treasury is doing it, and I just don't agree with that. Because quantitative tightening and quantitative easing are two very explicit things here. I have an option to take $100,000 from my pension at the end of this year when I retire. It will reduce my pension. Oh, it'll reduce my pension by $500. Yeah, all right. Okay. It'll reduce. I haven't. That's not really a question. Any new construction homes coming to Alpharetta? Trying to convince my wife to move it. Man, they're freaking building all over the place, brother. It's crazy. Crazy. Good night for the dark. Yeah, I'm getting ready to get out of here myself, man. Good stuff. Hey, right on. You got it, Eduardo. You're all right. I don't care what they say. Yeah, I'm not saying you called it. Denise, I love Denise. I consider her a very close personal friend. She called it QE. I said, I don't think that's not what we'd call it. We wouldn't call it quantitative easing because that has a specific meaning. And again, that doesn't mean you guys are wrong. I'm just saying at the end of the day, when I hear quantitative easing, that's something specific. When I hear quantitative tightening, that's something specific too. I haven't heard anyone say anything about quantitative easing. I've heard them use the term quantitative tightening. Now, what you're saying, Big Seller, could absolutely be right. But then I hear you saying they're issuing T-bills. Well, that, again, going back to quantitative easing, quantitative tightening construct, that's not the same as quantitative easing in my mind. That's actually quantitative tightening. Now, you 100%. I mean, look, dude, all these guys. You think about it. Does anyone even know what the hell's going on? No. I mean, you think freaking everyone's like Paul Volcker and freaking Ben Bernanke and stuff. At the end of the day, we know to some degree that the Great Depression was caused by the tightening of the monetary supply. That's just a fact. I mean, I don't think anyone would argue with that. But there's reasonings for the Fed to have done that. And I think a lot of people overlook the reasoning the Fed did that. They're like, oh, the Fed was so stupid now. Now we're so much smarter. And it's just like, oh, my goodness. No, this is the thing with like Monte Carlo probabilities and all this. It's like, I was just reading some guy today. Who was it? My man, Mike Lettices, who I've interviewed a couple times on this channel. What was he saying? The guy from Merton, what's his name? The Nobel Prize guy from Merton, the LTCM, when long-term capital management fell, Merton's response, was a Nobel Prize winner, by the way, was that it was a 28 standard deviation exposure. 20, like literally, it would never happen ever on the world, ever, in terms of finance. It's so improbable to happen, and yet it did. It happened in 97, 98? I think it was 98. It did happen. There's a 28 standard deviation, and it happened. And so that's the issue. It doesn't happen until it does. And the Great Depression didn't happen until it did, and then it did. And we'll say, oh yeah, now we know that the solution for the Great Depression was just flood the money, the money. And the thing, that's what Japan was trying to do. Now, did that solve it from not becoming a Great Depression? They didn't really have a Great Depression, but they certainly had a massive deflation and a recession for decades. And again, so let's just look at the velocity of money. It's just not turning over. If it's not turning over, you can print all the money you want. It doesn't matter though if people aren't borrowing and people aren't spending. And it's interesting to say. I just don't think anyone knows what they're talking about. I think everyone thinks they do. They saw, well, this, Peter Schiff and all these guys. And I like Peter Schiff, but it's just like, dude, you've been on the same, thing. Like, what's his name? David Stockman. David Stockman's been on the same thing since 1982 when he left the Reagan administration as the OMB director. He's been saying the same thing. And then at some point they're going to be right. At some point the empire is going to fall. At some point there'll be an alternative U.S. dollar. Is it BRICS? I don't think so. Dude, we're still the best game in town, man. You're, do you not know how many abortions they have in Russia? Do you not know what the Chinese population is happening? You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. South Africa is racial strife up and down the street. It's horrible. India's probably going to be okay, but India's a freaking, I mean, India is India. You know, I bring on Indians. I don't got no qualm with that. As long as they, have to fight freely and fairly for labor, you know, they can't undercut Americans. And then don't hire their own, I think it's okay. But we know there are some examples of Indians hiring their own at a low cost, underpriced Americans. You're like, dude, that's not how immigration should work. But be that as it may, and India's all these different. I mean, hell, it's not one religion, it's not one ethnicity. There's all kinds of different people in India. You know what I'm saying? It's a hodgepodge of different people there. But all more power to them. But China's doomed. You know, they're going to have less than 750 million people at the end of this decade, at the end of the century. It's crazy. So what's the alternative to the United States right now? I mean, we're still freaking kicking ass and taking names, even with Sniffy Joe in there. You know why? Because there's an American culture. This is what pisses me off about all these anti-American fools. American culture is to get out there and get it done. Take a little bit of a risk, make it happen, get it done. And if you go out there and you risk and you win, you're going to be rewarded nicely. And for some reason, that has a white male connotation to it. And yet, there's tons of black guys out there crushing who took risks and are freaking crushing. It's like being married is a white privilege thing. It's so freaking stupid. No black guy says that unless they're freaking deep in the deep state. There's not one black guy sitting there and say being married is a white privilege thing. It's like, dude, you're a freaking fool. The only people say that white libs, women, you know what I'm saying, and just men who don't know what the hell they are with no testosterone. That's what makes America. Australia used to be like that, but then something happened to them. But America, because we said we don't want anything to do with the freaking king. I guess Australia still did. You know what I'm saying? Ireland. It was like I was reading this one guy today, Vox Day. He's like, isn't that funny? Ireland and Scotland fought tooth and nail to free themselves from the rule of the Brits. But for some reason, they're just rolling the red carpet down for foreign invaders from all over the world. I said, man, that's a great point. Like, what happened to the psyche of the Scots and the Irish? Now, E. Michael Jones would say that the Irish are coming back because they had this referendum that failed dramatically. But I'm not so sure about that. We will see. Because my wife was just telling me that, what did she say? Like 17% of native-born Irish live outside of Ireland, and 21% of Irish are non-native, are non-Irish, or are native, are non-native born. So basically, a fifth of Irish people born in Ireland live outside of Ireland. A fifth of the Irish population is non-native now, and that's not good, man. That's not good. All right, so let's say prayers. Oh, is that what he meant? Can he walk? He has 10 million bucks. The US will implode at some point in time, but I mean, everything implodes. I mean, that's just, entropy. Yeah, but are they having women? I don't think they're having any women, man. Were bonds part of my stock market course? Hell yeah. Hell yeah, man. Bonds have significant courses on bonds or lessons on bonds. Oh, was it worth it? Dude, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, you're getting a 55-year-old, a 6% pension payout is pretty good to me. I don't know. I don't know what, I don't know enough about your situation, brother, to say. Yeah, right on. Stockman. Yeah. But we all have, look, dude, I've made a million predictions that didn't work out. Trust me. So I'm not one of these guys that say, stop me. Like, look at what he said on 3, because we've all done it. Yeah, but if he has 10 million bucks and he walk, I mean, now if he's spending 10 million bucks a year, this is what I say. I mean, it all comes down to spending. So, I don't know. So Sarasota Tim, a 10-foot RV with no toilet and camping along the road. Yeah, teach his own, man. Is that guy married? Can't imagine his wife would like that, but whatever. Yes, bonds were part. Oh, I guess that's it. All right. Oh. Some customers just need to be fired at 100%, man. I fire one auto repair customer a year. It must be funny because my texts all stop unless when I do it. Yeah, you got to do it, man. You got to say nope. And especially in your line of business, John, I can see people like, what? You're like, dude, you don't like it? Go someplace else, man. All right, say prayers and get on out of here. You got Iron Man. He's like, I got 300,000 in my 529. Humble brag, much, huh? I don't think he's here anymore. At what exactly what I'm saying? Yeah, but he'll be right one day. Though. Big salary, he'll be right. At some point, I don't know when. That's the thing. No one knows when. All right, Heavenly Father, we just thank you for bringing Jesus back from the dead to show over 500 people he appeared to in person after they know he was dead. And for some reason, those 500 people who witnessed him had a change of course, the apostles in particular, were the people who denied him before that, just a day or two before that. They denied him as Jesus told they would, Peter in particular. Then they went out and risked their lives and got brutally tortured and died themselves. I mean, Lord, how could that possibly, how can we deny that? If Jesus did not rise from the dead, why would the same people who denied him go out and suffer brutal deaths themselves? It makes no sense. And then why would we have people still to this day who see you, Lord, and your son Jesus and just get turned around on a dime? It doesn't make sense. It's amazing to me, Lord. And I just pray for people out there who are sad right now because there's hope in Jesus's rise. There's liberation in Jesus's rise. Jesus was tempted by Satan, and Jesus said, not today. I just pray for those people who are just sad, down on their luck, angry, bitter. The liberator is there waiting for you to show up and say, Jesus, please come into my life and show me how to be a better man and liberate me from my worries, my eternal worries, not this temporal world. We always have worries, but Lord, I just thank you, Lord, Heavenly Father. I just want to glorify you in all things, and I am fall short of that. But please, Lord, I just thank you for bringing Jesus into our lives and letting him rise again, so that we may know truth, true peace, and that is only through you, Lord. We pray in Jesus' name, amen. Man, they died because of a guy they denied. I mean, you could say, well, the Bible's wrong, it didn't exist, it's fake. That's fine. I mean, that would be a good argument. You can say, no, this is fake. Okay, that's fine. Look, that's a legitimate argument to make. But if you read the Bible and you say it doesn't make sense, you're like, okay, why did the apostles just turn on a dime and say, Jesus, yeah, I wasn't, I got you and stuff, but now I'm with you. But when a maid, or we were saying our last, I always thought it was a girl, but in the last reading, they said it was a maid who called out Peter. I always thought it was a girl, but I still think it is. But anyway, either way, a maid or a girl. When some lady called out Peter to deny Jesus, he was so scared. He said, no, not me. And then he died. St. Peter. Now, Paul never met Jesus, right? I mean, well, I guess you could say the road to Damascus. I have questions, but other than the road to them, so let's just say that's true. That's the only time Paul met Jesus. He didn't see Jesus, the risen Jesus, the way the other 500 did, though, if that makes sense. And Paul died a horrible death too. Crazy. But I'm talking about the apostles. You know what I'm saying? And it's amazing when you think about it. And it's like either that happened or it didn't. It one of two things. It can't be, well, Jesus was a good man. Jesus was a moral teacher. No. No, that means these people died. Why, if that was true, if Jesus was just a good man or a moral teacher, why would those people, those apostles, die horrible deaths for a moral man or good teacher? That doesn't make any sense. Especially when Peter denied him right out. I mean, if Peter said, "Yeah, he's a moral man, good teacher," I'm walking away. I don't know who that guy was, but man, now I really got under my skin that I let myself down, not taking ownership of the fact I knew this moral man. It literally makes no sense. Either Jesus was or he wasn't. I had to quote C.S. Lewis, and people say, "Oh, C.S. Lewis, is he a madman, a liar, or God?" And we can debate that, in terms of other options, and I think there are. But either way, but Peter, he's a moral man, but I don't know him. I don't never knew him. But I'm going to go out after the moral man dies on a crucifix of horrible pain, horrible pain. I'm going to go out there and let Jesus get killed and be hung upside down. Almost all the apostles died violent deaths because they wouldn't deny Christ. They would have saved their skin if they truly did not believe or know how. Can I explain to someone how to get to heaven? Well, that's a good question, man. That's a good question. Because some people will say it's all faith. And I don't buy that for 2 seconds flat. But I don't know. Because I think at the end of the day, see a pulverizer, God is the determination of what happens up there. And I don't know. I mean, I don't buy this all faith, the Paul mentality is all faith, no works. Because if we look at James, it's not what he says at all. And James was Jesus's brother. So it's kind of like, well, what is it? I just think God knows your heart, man. I think God knows your heart. In fact, I actually take issue. I think there's something to be said about, I was listening to some guy talk about this. I'm going to do whatever I can to go to heaven. That seems very self-serving in a way. You know what I'm saying? Why are you doing this? So I can go to heaven. Yeah, I'm not so sure it's in the Bible. What's in the Bible? How you get to heaven? See what I'm saying? Is it Paul's way or is it James's way? Or is it a combination thereof? You said it's in the Bible. Well, James is a book in the Bible. Paul wrote most of the New Testament. Weird. I think at the end of the day, God knows what's in your heart. I think at the end of the day, God knows, and God's going to say, and if you just sit there and say, I got to do whatever I can to go to heaven, I'm not so sure that's what you should be doing. I think that's kind of being a narcissist, actually. It's all focused on you. And I think the outwardly. But then again, you say, I'll be quick here, but something to think about. If Jesus is God, all right, think about it. Jesus is God. Why would the devil tempt Jesus like he did? Like say, I will give you all this, these lands before you, Jesus. I'll give it to you all. When Jesus, if he's God, created all that, that doesn't make sense. Yeah, so you guys are quoting both you guys are quoting Paul. And I have issues, got questions. Yeah, if you gave money to Oral Roberts to save him from being called home to heaven, surely there's a spot in heaven for you. Spot in heaven. And Romans, Corinthians, Romans again. That's Paul. And so if you have questions with Paul, then those things might not be something. And look, that doesn't mean I don't like Paul. It just means I got questions. It's okay. Why would Jesus be tempted by the devil to give him stuff that Jesus himself created? All right. So I got to say on that, something to think about. Do I think Jesus rose again from the dead? 100%. No. Do I think over 500 people saw the risen Jesus and many of them died horrible, horrible deaths? People who previously denied even seeing Jesus? Yeah, 100%. So something happened there, 100%. Do I think Jesus took women under his arms when other people were kind of looking at women like, no? You know what I'm saying? Because if you just read, what was I reading? Esther today. with Queen. What's her name? I forgot what that lady's name is. Queen. Who the predecessor to Esther, the Queen Vista. Oh, that was one second. I'll find it. I'll leave you with this. It's kind of funny actually. I can't put my thing. All right. Right. Yeah, Queen Vashti. That's what I posted on Facebook. It all started with that daggum Queen Vashti. This very day, the Persian and Median women of nobility who had heard about the queen's conduct will respond to all the king's nobles in the very same way. There'll be no end to the disrespect and discord because Queen Vashti wasn't listening to the king. I forgot the king. Was it Xerxes? I can't remember. Anyway, and so he DX'd her and he brought on Esther. And Esther, there's actually no mention of God in the book of Esther. Isn't that crazy? Or Song of Solomon's. No mention at all. And as such, it's very interesting. And yet Esther became queen and then did a lot of work to save the Jews who were being persecuted. Very interesting. All right, I can get out of here, man. God bless. Happy Easter. Remember, Jesus is risen. And at the end of the day, it's really all that matters, in my opinion. Nothing else. It all started with Eve. And then Vashti, I told my wife the same thing. I said, man, you're like Queen Vashti. And she didn't find that funny, but I thought it was funny. All right, God bless. We'll see you.